I'm going to show you an easy way to make a sight tape and get it done the very first time you do it. It's going to take a little bit more work up front, taking some measurements from your bow at full draw. If you don't have a draw board like this, you can do it. You can draw the bow back and have a friend measure it, or the other way around. Taking these two measurements are fairly critical to make sure you get a really good sight tape the first time. So two of the measurements you really need on this is peep to pin. So you're going to measure from the peep sight all the way to your pin. It's right there. So right there I am at 29 and a quarter. So that'll give you your total sight radius, and the other measurement you're going to need is from the middle of your peep sight to the middle of your arrow. So that on mine is right at 4 inches. So with those two measurements you'll get sight radius and your line of sight above your arrow path. Alright, so now we got all our measurements. Let's assume you've gone out, spent some time and got your bow sighted in. Typically whenever I sight in a 20, a 30, a 50, and an 80. My 20 and 80 are the two marks I'm going to put into the system, and my 30 and 50 is going to be just a double check to make sure everything's right. So just to make sure everyone understands how the scales work on here, get this in focus. So you've got numbers on the side here, click numbers on the top. What I do is I'll set my sight to 0 on my index, and then make sure my pointer is exactly right on one of the numbers. Then every revolution is going to move this exactly one number. So whenever I sight in, let's say my sight setting, look and see what my 20 is here. 20 that I just shot in is 47.25. So I'll put this to 47. And then go down to 25. Now as you walk it down, you get your 20, you get your 30, you get your 50, and get your 80. You just write down the numbers where you're at. And that's how you're going to get the numbers to put into the system. So then when you set up a bow in here, you go through and enter everything in here. You got Easton X10 Pro Tour 380. It's 26.25 inches long. Got a 120 grain point, no adapters, no anything like that. Knocks, I've got a pin knock with an X10 knock adapter. Fletch details, you really want to make sure you put in exactly what you have in there. For an arrow like an X10 that's fairly heavy and you're putting on a really small fletch, there's not going to be a whole lot of drag on it. But let's say you have a great big arrow like a 27 series, full bore 270 or full bore 350, something like that, and you put a 4-fletch blazer on it. So if you fill out all your information with like a real small fletch like this, it's going to tell you you're not having too much drag. But if you put a great big fletch on it, you're like, okay, your drag coefficient is way bigger than what something like this is, and that's going to make your sight settings be really close together, and the further out you get, it's going to drop off real fast. So that's all. Oops, you're out of focus here. Drag coefficient on these. Sight configuration. True ball and copper john are exactly the same. 29.25. Full draw is 4. And anytime you change anything in the system, go off and click off to the outside. You'll see a little thing pop up like it's working to make everything go into the system. So we're going to look at our two ranges. 20, I put in 47.25, and my 80 range is 81.65. Hit calculate speed. You always want to make sure you calculate your speed after you get done doing this, because if you put in these two marks and then go to another page, nothing's going to change. You have to hit calculate speed. You can kind of see that pop up in the middle right here, let you know it's working. And I wouldn't be too concerned if this isn't exactly what your speed is. I found this to be a little bit off compared to what my chronograph says. Now let's go down into preview marks. So let's put in 30. Click outside the box, you see it work and calculate. It says sight setting is 5160. The number I shot in is 5165. So you're within a click there. Let's go to 50, which is the other range I shot in. Click outside, see it works, 6275. And my number should be 6285. Now what you can do in this instance, if you want to make it exactly the number you shot in, you can do one of two things. One, go back to your sight in. Your 20-yard range, at 20 yards, 20 click, 32 turn sight, every click is going to be a 64th of an inch. So I don't know about you, but a 64th of an inch isn't going to be that big of a deal for me. So what we can do is just change this. Let's change it 2 clicks. Let's go to 4735. Calculate your speed. Changed your feet per second by like a half a foot per second. Go back to preview marks. Let's go to 30. And we are 1 click over. Let's go to 50. And we are 1 click under. Now, the other thing you can do, you can say you're within a click here, within 2 clicks on the 30, is you can go back to your setup and play with your peep height just a little bit. Go back to sight configuration. Let's put the peep height at 3.88. Go back to sight in, calculate speed, preview marks, 30. I am 2 clicks over. 50. I am 1 click over. So let's go back to sight in. Let's go 2 clicks down. 25. Calculate speed. Back to preview marks. 30 is perfect. 50 is 1 click under. So you're within a click. You're going to still be in the X at 50 yards on a 50 centimeter face. I'm good with that. So you can see there's a couple different places you can fudge your numbers a little bit, either on your sight inside or on your setup side with your peep height. If you've got something with a bow with a little bit of vertical nock travel, your peep height setting may not be exactly what it ends up working for. You may not be exactly what you measured. So you have to keep that in mind. So all these numbers need to be pretty close, but don't have to be exactly to get your numbers. What I am concerned with is on here, where everything ends up hitting 20, 30, and 50. Now, when it comes time to print out, you've also got a few different options here too. Sight tapes, print out a regular sight tape sheet. Or you can do sight marks or calibrated scales. So hopefully that helped. If you guys have any questions, get a hold of me.